This is one of the most underrated ways to make money online without having an audience, without selling a course, without coaching. This is one of the most underrated ways, and that is to become a community manager. Becoming a community manager for an influencer can make you between 500 to 5K or maybe even 10K, depending on their community, how they're monetizing, and the demand for it, right? I know a lot of influencers who are looking for this. And the reason why is because think about it this way. An influencer with over 100,000 followers, 1 million followers, couple million followers, they don't have the time to manage their community, right? And a lot of communities are in school now, right? Or even on their Instagram page. A lot of people, they don't have time for it, right? They just don't have time to manage their communities. But what happens is if you come in as a community manager, you will be the bridge between them and their audience. So what you will do is you will get data from their audience to understand what the audience wants. You get feedback, you get everything like that. And then you go to the influencer, you say, hey, this is what your audience is saying. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. And you can start events, you can start community things, and you will basically be the bridge. Where a lot of influencers struggle is they build an audience, but sometimes they can't, it's hard to connect. Because when you're on YouTube, for example, I'm on YouTube right now, I don't see you, right? I don't see the person who's watching this. I don't know if you're watching 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 minutes. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're watching. However, as a community manager, you start to know who's who. You start to know the audience, especially if you're in a school community, if you hop on weekly calls with your audience, you start to learn, right? And then as a result, you know them on a first name basis. They know you, right? And then they also know the influencer a lot better too, because the influencer will take your feedback and implement it to grow the community. This is something I've been doing. I've been working with an influencer online with a couple million subscribers. And I also got into coaching with another coach as well. And I've been just kind of helping him kind of like as a community manager, but also as a head coach. And I've had people come up to me and ask me about managing their communities. So it's something that it is in demand. How do you approach this? Basically, what you want to do is find an influencer that you actually like. Like, don't just try to help any influencer. Help an influencer you already follow, because what happens is if you're part of the audience already, what happens is you just want to elevate yourself as a community leader. So as a community leader, what you'll do is you will basically become the person, that the go-to person for anything that you may need from that influencer, or feedback or videos or whatever ideas, right? You'll be that person, but you already know what they do. So there's a common ground between the two of you. So that's a big thing, right? The influencer that I work with, I already know his industry. I know everything that he does, and I follow him, right? Even with the coach, I know the coach's structure. I like his workout routines, right? I implement it in my own life. So it's like, it just makes sense, right? So that's one thing I would recommend. Now, someone may ask, what kind of skill do I need to do this? I would say if you've done customer service, so if you've worked as like a cashier, if you worked in customer service, like on the desk, you can probably do this. What you need to do is you need to understand that you're not selling. You're basically on the other end where you're kind of receiving, right? You're receiving feedback, you're starting things, you're kind of like in more of a defensive mode, right? Where it's like a lot of times when you think of the internet, you're thinking of like people selling. It's always about like, oh, you want to create this, you want to create that. But you're actually just more on the defensive, which is actually great for someone who may be a little bit more introverted, someone who's not trying to push super hard on like their product, right? They're not like a salesy person. So if you're not really a salesy person, this is actually a good opportunity. If you've done customer service, this is actually a great thing to do. I would say that's like probably the number one thing you'll need. Just have customer service experience and also have an understanding of people. Where influencers disconnect from the audience is where they don't really know their audience because they just have too many people on their thing, right? It's very hard to know everyone. You can't know everyone. Your DMs are flooded with thousands of people. It's just there's a lot going on. So being the bridge between that will be super super helpful, right? You have to think about it in that way. Like, how can I get your role is basically to increase engagement for that influencer, and if they have a paid community, you help them decrease churn. And churn basically means like churn is basically means like the amount of people that basically unsubscribe or that decide to leave the community. If you can decrease churn, you're making them more money, so your value is going to go up, right? So that's a big one too. And then you're setting events, you're increasing engagement, you're setting like all these different challenges. You're basically like a coordinator, right? That's what it is. Now there's another word called growth operator. That's a whole different topic, and I've done that. I've been in that world, and for me, it's like it's decent, but it's not something that I would want to do for myself. You can make more money as a growth operator, right? Because you're gonna push, and that's one thing I will say. The only downside of being a community manager is your rate. You're not gonna be able to up your rate as much as like if you're a salesperson or you're something along those lines, right? This is like really something that you're gonna have like a stable like salary, something that's a little bit more stable, but you're not gonna have something that's like this highest paid thing. Like I would say the most that someone will pay you is between 5 to 10K a month, which is good, but it's not like you can make like 25K. Maybe you're so valuable in your market that you can make 25K, but it's not like a thing that you're gonna scale it unless you're working on multiple communities, which is not easy because like how you're also you're dealing with humans, right? So that's the one thing you have to realize. You're not just dealing with like profiles, you're dealing with actual human beings. That's the difference between being a community manager and an influencer. When you're an influencer, you get desensitized because you're just seeing numbers. When you're a community manager, you're dealing with actual people. So you know these people on a first name basis. And I've dealt with different members in our community. Like I stayed at people's houses. I've like friends. I've made friends. Basically, you're being everyone's friend, right? That's basically what it is. You're basically their friend. You're understanding where their weak points are, how you can help them, and you're assisting them, right? So you're kind of a coach, but like you're kind of like there. You're basically one of them, but you're also like a leader. So that's what you want to position yourself as. You have that authority, and you will build the authority as the influencer pushes you, talks more about you, and this and that, right? So that's something that I can expand on. I don't really want to push this. I don't really want to make this a course or a coaching. I don't really want to do any of that because like I have my own stuff going on. Like it's something that like I could do it, but like at the end of the day, like this is an untapped market, and if you can do it and take advantage of it, I would love to help you. Like, of course, maybe it'll be paid if you want to do some sort of thing where I coach you to do it. We can do that. Just send me a DM. But as of right now, I'm not really pushing this like super hard. I just want to like someone, because I know a lot of people are trying to make money online, and everyone's trying to go the same route, which is like create a course, go online, create a course, be an influencer, do this. You don't have to do all that. You can just, it's better sometimes if you're a regular person, like a regular person online, because you're more relatable to the community than someone who has their own, like, who's the leader, like who's the influencer, right? There's always a disparity between the influencer and the follower, right? But if you're the community manager who's also a follower, then you're just seen in like you're kind of just, you're up there, but you're also like relatable to the followers as well. So that's something I want to share. I hope this is a benefit of you. If the skills, like I said, customer service, just have that. Understand human nature, understand feedback mechanisms. People will complain. People will have their downfalls. Understand how to handle people, how to win friends and influence people is probably one of the best books for that. Just understand like dealing with people. Like that's really it. You're in customer service. So think about customer service, but you're online customer service. And yes, you won't make as much money as someone who's building their own thing, but it's a good start. And it's really like you're focusing on your own schedule and you're doing your own thing. All you're doing is you're scheduling events, you're coordinating, you're making life easy for the influencer. And the more you can help them reduce churn, and the more you can help them clear time and get them feedback, the more money you'll get. So anyways, that's all I want to talk about. Thanks again. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again, and peace.